Hello, hello, and happy Thursday to you. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're joining me on the replay, happy replay day to you as well. But if you're joining me live, what a treat to have you here. I am excited to welcome you to today's live level up conversation.
Welcome to Level Up with Winnie Sun. Market updates. Award-winning financial pro. Get ready. I present to you Level Up with Winnie Sun.
Hello, friends. I'm Winnie Sun, your host, Forbes contributor, CNBC council member, and award-winning financial pro, here to keep you on top of all things trending, business, market-related news. But most importantly, what makes our show so fun and so meaningful is that you are part of today's discussion. So, of course, we're going to be sharing feedback, and it's always great to see those of you joining us on the different platforms. For those of you who don't know, we stream live on YouTube and LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook and so many other platforms. I think more than half a dozen different streaming platforms. So it's always a treat to see you here. And so feel free to comment. Of course, also remember that my direct messages are always open. So feel free to send me questions or comments after the show if you have anything else you want to follow up with. Now let's start where we always do, and that is how the market closed. Now the Dow closed up 27 points. The NASDAQ, though, down 74 points, and the S&P 500 down about 2.9 points. And you might be thinking, wait, what's going on with the financial markets? Is there a reason why tech is down? And is there a reason why the Dow ended up positive? Unfortunately, today was kind of on a slow, quiet day. It's not a lot of news, to be honest with you. I mean, stocks were kind of sluggish today. As you remember yesterday, with the inflation news that came out, it wasn't quite as inflated as we thought the inflation would be. And therefore, we saw some good activities in the financial markets on all three indices. But it looks like people came back to earth a little bit today, and it was just kind of they were just sort of lukewarm. And hello, Vicky Garvey. It's so great to see you on Facebook Live. I see you. Yes, absolutely. Today was kind of one of those days, just one of those days. But I wanted to share some great news and actually some really interesting news, I should say, that this is from my friends on LinkedIn. Now, if you didn't know already, I am a LinkedIn Learning instructor, and I have several courses out with LinkedIn Learning already and more to come. And so we're going to be sharing that link with you throughout the show. So when you have a chance, definitely check it out. Would love to get your feedback on the courses. And of course, let me tell you, if you've always wanted to sort of up-level your business and personal finance skills, there's some great courses for you. All right. But here's what we've got going on today. So Jessica Hartogs was an editor. She's an editor at LinkedIn News. She shared today that for the first time in many, many months, actually, when you fill up gas, if you still fill up gas, that you're going to see that prices actually started to come down a little bit. In fact, a gallon of gas reported by AAA is now under $4 a gallon. Now, I'm pretty sure here in Southern California, where I'm at, it's still probably above $4 a gallon, but that's really good news, right? So we've been seeing the Fed increase interest rates over the last few months, and certainly been a lot of concerns about the economy and inflationary concerns and whatnot. And so this is an area that people, I think, are going to feel like was welcome news, right? A reduction in the cost of gas. Now, as you know from yesterday, that was just gas that went down a little bit today, but the cost of a lot of the things that you spend money on in terms of groceries did continue to stay high from a year prior to now. But it is what it is. Unfortunately, as long as we still haven't resolved the war in Ukraine, you can probably expect gas price to not drop very significantly in the near future, right? But for those of you who are joining me, I'm curious, how much is gas per gallon where you are at? Is it above $4 a gallon? When's the last time that you filled up? Because To be honest with you, I drive an electric vehicle, so I actually don't really know how much gas costs, except for the fact that, of course, I follow financial news very, very closely, and so I'm expecting it to be that area. But I definitely will tell you this weekend, and when we're driving around, I'm going to take a look and see where gas prices are sitting currently. And if you're ever in a new area and you're not sure where to go for gas and you're looking for the best deal, there's a lot of great apps out there. In fact, one of my favorite is Gas Buddy. So you can go to Gas Buddy, it's a free app, and then you just pull up the app, and wherever you are, it's going to tell you, I think within a 5 or 10 mile radius, what the least expensive gas is in your area that you're at. So super convenient when you travel. I've done it because when we travel, we typically do use a gas-powered vehicle, and highly, highly recommend. But with that, let's continue on, all right? This was another article that was shared on LinkedIn News today. This is shared by Monica Fink, I believe. She's the editor there. And the article talks about that there are more and more people in the generation of Generation X, like I'm in Generation X, more people are concerned about having to support their boomer parents, their baby boomer parents. In fact, about 50% of those recently surveyed said that they absolutely feel that they are not financially prepared to take care of their parents who are getting older. And as you know, when you get older, things can be more expensive in terms of medical costs, right? Adult care, all of these things, if you're not prepared, and let's say your parents, maybe like my parents, like didn't really, financially prepare for things like long-term care and whatnot, this can unfortunately be quite havoc on your financial balance sheet for your household. So they're saying a lot of Americans are really concerned at what this is going to happen. Of course, we know the results of the pandemic. We hear about things like long COVID. And so Generation X is really, really worried. This is like a big discussion on LinkedIn. So I'm curious to see how many of you have felt that way too. How many of you have had to take care of parents or grandparents? I know when I was a kid, we took care of our grandparents at home, and it was like financially and mentally, it was a big thing, a big responsibility. So let me know what you think. Okay, now the last bit of news I'm going to share with you today, because today is definitely a quiet day, is here about the holidays. I want to prepare you ahead of time, because it's always important to know how your money is going to be spent in the future, and if you need to navigate earlier, the better, right? The U.S. Postal Service just announced today that they're going to be raising rates for the holidays, okay? Now, as you remember, this is sort of the third year in a row that the U.S. Postal Service has increased the cost of postage, like stamps and packages, whatnot. So this year, what they're going to do is they're going to increase prices somewhere between 25 cents to $6 a package. Now, this is going to go into effect on October 2nd. So for those of you who maybe prepare ahead, you know it's going to happen October 2nd, and it's going to last all the way until January 22. Now, I know some of you are saying, okay, you know what, then I'm just going to mail my gift after the holidays. Well, the Postal Service was thinking that, so they went all the way to almost the end of January. And then some of you might think, oh, well, then I'll just send it out a little bit earlier. But you wouldn't send holiday gifts before even like Halloween, right? That'd be really, really weird. So anyway, you're going to be mailing packages this year. It's going to cost a lot more. And they're saying that this is important because the U.S. Postal Service, because there's an uptick in busyness for them, they're going to have to pay more employee benefits and overtime and whatnot. So therefore, if you're mailing a package this year, it's going to cost you quite a bit more. So maybe this is the year to do gift cards. I don't know, just thinking out loud. But something to plan ahead if you are looking to do gifting in the year, and maybe you traditionally send out really nice care packages, or you really want to, give somebody either like a farther distance or overseas, and it's usually a big box. Keep that in mind. Shipping costs are certainly going to go higher, which for those of you who shop places like Amazon and whatnot, and you enjoy free shipping, remember, nothing's really for free ever, right? So if the cost at the U.S. Postal Service is going higher, probably the cost at the UPS and FedEx and everywhere else is probably going to go higher too. And you may not see it. It might be shown as free shipping, if you will. But we know no such thing. So it's probably priced into the item as well. And actually, before I close up here, I want to just share something else. I know a lot of you watch and you know that we talk a lot about travel. One thing that if you have family or friends, or maybe even yourself, and you're traveling or you traveled yesterday or today, you may have actually been impacted by flight delays or even flight cancellations. Now, this is actually something that's ongoing. So we're seeing more news about this. In fact, yesterday, over 100 American airline flights had diversions, and hundreds of cancellations extended into today. This is out of Dallas Fort Worth in Texas. Now, so more than 320 American airline flights have been canceled as of today, this afternoon. That's actually about 10% of their daily schedule. So it's a lot of people being impacted by travel disruptions the last couple of days. And if you flew Southwest Airlines and you also went through Dallas Fort Worth, well, there were another 250, 100, 300, I think like over 350 flights impacted over there as well. So if you're traveling soon, my suggestion would be before you leave the house or wherever you are, take a moment, check a website like FlightAware or Google Flights, or even better yet, check the airline's app of which airline you're going to be flying, and just make sure before you even leave the house that your flight is still on time and it hasn't been canceled yet. Okay. And if you are flying the next couple of days, the other thing I would suggest is to prepare ahead of time. Make sure you have an extra flight or two prepared just in case you need you back up. And also make sure that, if you have a connection and whatnot, make sure you have a plan in case you get stuck there, just in case. All right. I see so many comments coming in. Let me take a moment. I see Tedra. Tedra, it's wonderful to have you with us. Tedra is joining us on LinkedIn Live, saying in Pensacola, Florida, $3.93 a gallon. Oh, yeah, you drive a Tesla, and I forgot to put. Yeah, I know that's Tesla humor. I get it. I love it. Okay, I drive a Tesla. I'm a big fan of electric vehicles too. So yeah. Well, so you're around there. So you're around $4. So right on mark, I guess, from the AAA rating. Maureen Wixon, thank you so much. Facebook Live. It is wonderful to see you. Always a treat. Hello. CrossX Fighter Joshua, never can be a show without you, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us. About $5 a gallon. Joshua, let us know where you are joining us from and where that $5 a gallon is. So I know in Southern California, I think we're about that too. And Tetra is also saying that Cedra is Gen X. Haven't had to do that yet. My dad is very prepared financially. My mom is a retired civil servant. Well, you are very fortunate. And in fact, I will say this, Tedra. I often tell clients and just individuals that I work with, or on airmen sometimes, of that preparing for the future as a parent is really about taking care of your kids, right? So many times I'll hear someone say like, oh, I didn't have long-term care, but maybe my kids will take care of me, right? But if you think about it, long-term care, when you buy long-term care, is to take care of yourself, but most importantly is to take care of your kids. Because if you don't want to become a burden on your children, you want to sort of plan ahead if you can. Obviously, I know everyone's situation is very different. Long-term care costs are very expensive, but the earlier you start, the less stressful it is. And even if you can't save the entire amount, it's kind of like people saving for college. Even if you can't save the entire amount, even if you're to save 5,000, 10,000, it's going to be something to somebody, and it's really going to make a difference. Take it from someone who knows, it's really, really helpful. All right. CrossX Fighter is joining us from Florida right now. Okay. I'm curious, how hot is it in Florida? I'm guessing it's pretty toasty today. Wonderful. Yes. And Vicky is saying she is seeing lots of cancellations in America. I'm going to guess on those flights, right, Vicky? A lot of cancellations. Just when you think it's going to be a little bit better, it just seems like it's gotten like a lot worse. And remember, we talked about this on a previous show, but if your flight gets canceled or severely delayed, you do have the right to ask for cash back. And make sure the terms work for you. You don't necessarily have to take miles or take a flight credit. You should always ask for cash back if you can. That way, you're not forced to fly in the next 12 months if you don't have any things that you need to travel for. It just gives you a lot more flexibility. But remember to really plan ahead. Check before you leave the house. And of course, have a plan B. If your flight gets delayed, if it gets stuck, like what are you going to do? Are you going to be okay? I hope you're going to be okay because you're watching the show and you're going to be planning ahead as well. So Vicky is saying, yes, indeed, in America and UK too. I did hear about that, Vicky. I did hear that quite a few people quite a few of my friends have been traveling to Europe, and they're saying, wow, the airports are absolutely bananas. So it's very, very busy right now. And they said preparation is key, and they did feel a little overwhelmed, but once they got to their destination, it was actually pure bliss. So hopefully you feel the same way. And what a treat. Okay, Florida getting pretty toasty in the summer, around daytime, pretty warm, semi-cold around the night. I hear you, CrossX Fighter. I hear you. Yeah, very toasty here. We're pushing about 90 degrees today too. So one of those days. Hopefully next month will be a little bit cooler. But with that, my friends, I just want to wish you a beautiful weekend. And I will catch you again, of course, next week. Thank you so much for watching and supporting our program. Do me a favor, share this show. Thank you so much, Vicky, for always being so supportive of our show, and Sadiq and everybody else. Please take a moment, share the show with someone that you care about, share it all over social media, tag me on it so I know that you're sharing. I can thank you properly. And as a reminder, you can find full episodes of Level Up with Winnie Sun on NASDAQ, the Amazon Fire, and Roku. And of course, don't forget Yes Factor with Winnie Sun, and that is pretty much everywhere that you tune into podcasts. That's on the LinkedIn Podcast Network, and I check it out on the Apple Podcast Network. And with that, hope that you have a beautiful weekend. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you next week. Take care.
Subscribe to Winnie Sun TV on YouTube.